I've got the classic Cohort 4-pack. Some classic Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle figures. Slide this out here. Open all these up. 4 figures inside. We've got some artwork on the box of that foot soldier vehicle, not included. So we got 4 characters we can go through, and we'll open them up and check them all out. So this is taped closed. If you're wanting to open it but keep the box side. We have all the packaged figures lodged inside the box here. It smells so new. So this is not the cooler carding they would maybe have with their own original artwork, but these kind of vary in time period of when they were released. 1988, Foot Soldier. So he would have had artwork of his own character on here, but here we just have Ninja Turtles and Nickelodeon. So it's kind of a later packaging, just the name. A little bit of old school, but nothing about the character. Doesn't have the bio or anything like that on the carding. Probably better just to open these since they just all have the same carding. We have a redone 1989 Leatherhead. Then we have from 1990 Wingnut and Screwloose and Mutagen Man, which I think is probably the most disappointing of them all because he doesn't come with a lot of his accessories for some reason. The rest all seem to have everything. Really lacking on Mutagen Man. I don't see what the problem was that he couldn't come with a lot of his extra stuff. Fortunately, I have some original Ninja Turtle stuff we can kind of compare to some of these, and one of them is Mutagen Man. We can start with the Foot Soldier, because I have an original here we can kind of compare it to. At least he has one surviving weapon, the knife. I think they use that in some of the video games. I say we tear these open. Oh yeah. Just so I can show you the fresh Foot Soldier. And they're kind of strapped in these. There's just a turning head. It's a little bit popping out there, the firmest. Of course the arms kind of do a little bit of side to side, mostly up and down. There's a little bit. We got some turning here. Of course, these things always kind of turned in place too as little arm guards. We got that, and then the legs actually just go up and down, but he's kind of bent, kind of hunched over stance. Maybe just over time, my original with the foot on his forehead is kind of faded in color, but I think maybe there's just a darker color and this one has a lighter. Plus this is just a solid foot, not with the individual toes, and the original seemed to have the individual toes kind of floating away from the main foot. So this one, the new one, is a little less shiny and everything. The head has some glossy, but the body is kind of a matte, unglossed finish. Colors are fairly the same. I think the difference is probably just that glossiness, what we're seeing here. Probably the first figures I always wished I had multiple of, to kind of do an army build of a bunch of foot soldiers for all the Ninja Turtles to knock around. Of course, we can see my original's missing one of those arm guard things, but it'll still look pretty cool finally having 2 foot soldiers in my Ninja Turtle display. We'll see the weapons here. Of course, they came on like these kind of model kit molded things here. Kind of how they just come out of the factory and they just packed it in. Kind of cool at the time. Kind of a weird one. It's like a mace ball with the handle, and so that's kind of like swinging it. Definitely lost my original for that one. It's a unique weapon. You can kind of bend it in his hand. A little bit like Michelangelo's nunchuck style to pose him, or just kind of has it up. Although it looks kind of better curved, like it's actually being swung, but mostly that's kind of a strange one, I feel. Of course, there's the knife, much like my original, actually has a surviving accessory for a change. And then this big staff, which I'm going to have to cut it away from the bar, and then it still has these tabs. And you don't have to cut them with scissors, you can kind of just keep folding them over. It'll naturally kind of twist away. Just get those tabs off there. This is like this weird claw kind of staff. Kind of a cool one. I think you can kind of put it around him like he's carrying this weapon as such here, or he's holding it as a staff, so that's a cool one to pose it with, you know, if one has like the knife or that weird mace ball weapon, which is kind of weird, but different weapons, or they could both be having that knife, since I actually have 2 knives for a change. So not quite identical, mostly from that foot, and just kind of the glossy or not glossy finish on the rest of the body. Of course, we've definitely had reissues before, so his back actually says 2013, even though this is from a package from 2022. My original Foot Soldier saying 1988. Pretty decent condition considering I was like 2 or 3 years old, wouldn't you say? Finally got two though. We'll take a look at one I didn't have as a kid, Leatherhead. It's kind of a villainous gator. Was anybody else dumb and just kept asking for different versions of the turtles even though I didn't really care? I should have got more just characters to add to my collection. That's all I really want now is just the different characters, not the versions of the turtles in their wacky costume. Oh boy, lots of straps here. I assume the idea was to keep these on the card, but they kinda don't have a very nice card, in my opinion. They don't have that individualized artwork where you might see the Leatherhead all on the outside packaging. Jeez, how many straps do you need, dude? Jeez, look at all these stupid straps. Actually has really short legs. Yeah, I've never seen this figure like this. He's kind of meant to be hunched over because his big tail. I guess they didn't want it removable or they knew kids would lose the tail, although it didn't stop them on a lot of other choices. Oh, but the mouth does open some. Well, gotta be careful. Don't open your Leatherhead too far, kids. Kind of my weakness there is some characters I just didn't have as a kid, so I don't know their features and limitations here. Of course, the tail is turning around. You can kind of position it. He has his belt already on here. So that's a kind of removable piece. Of course, it's always difficult to kind of get the little peg through the hole there, so we kind of see it's got a holster. That'll be good for one of the accessories. Can't get over how tiny his little legs are. So the problem is his head won't go down. It's just stuck with a turn only. The arms mostly are just up and down. The legs have a little bit of outward or movement, but he can't just stand up because his head's going to be up too much. He's definitely meant to be bent forward some, but he does kind of balance with the tail. He just can't really look forward quite too much or he might kind of fall over. He's pretty balanced. I don't have an original, but here we just kind of can see the color and the texture. I'm not sure if there's any missing apps per se. So he's got a big shotgun, which does look pretty nice there. Fits right in the hand. I kind of thought the holster here would hold it, but I don't think it's quite big enough. Well, yeah, it kind of just slides in there a little bit. A little strange, though, especially with the pump. Kind of, they have like a bear trap kind of thing. Sure, it's supposed to be a turtle trap. Of course, it's hinged and pegs are pretty small there, kind of falls apart. I assume you're just supposed to set it and pretend like the turtles will step in the trap or something. Doesn't seem anywhere to apply him. He can kind of hold it. I think it's just kind of an extra weapon. Let me know if this was supposed to have some extra feature with him because I didn't get to have a lot of these early Ninja Turtle figures. Just a few in my time. Note for later that these accessories are red and he has the orange belt, so they had to do separate plastic molding and accessories. So he does technically come with 3 accessories because these belts are removable. They are their own accessory in a way. But that'll come into play later when we open another one of these. Interesting that he got to have 2 different color accessories. Next, another one I never had as a kid, Wingnut and Screwloose. Gets a name drop in the package even though he's just a little accessory kind of dude in there. Lots of accessories and it's a lot bigger figure and he even has the little friendly dude. This is like a big one here. But by gosh, I say we rip it open. So not that I own the original of this one or some of these, but I will say just a general kind of fragileness to some of these. It feels like might be that the remakes are a little weaker than some of the originals. I think I only ever broke a Bebop as a kid. All my turtles were in good shape and never really broke any other figures. So if you're getting these thinking, you know, a kid can have them as kind of having the retro toys, I'm not sure if they'll survive too well. Oh, that foot soldier's head was really wobbly. We got Wingnut. He's got his belt piece on already. At the side here is where it would kind of disengage, pull off there. He has his grenade W on it for Wingnut. He is a bat, and his costume is kind of Batman-ish, you know, with kind of the Adam West Batman colors. And he has his gun, also with a W logo on it. A nice little bat face on there. That's actually his 2 main weapons, which he can hold the gun just fine, of course. The grenade he can kind of hold. Probably just more of a play thing that he's throwing it. What he needs is his wings, which we can see kind of his real little tiny bat wings. And then he's got these extended, maybe kind of robot-y kind of jet pieces. We got a nuclear kind of symbol, like he's extended so he can actually fly. Those just have a tab and there's a peg on his back. They can snap in here. bigger figure already, and then it just looks that much bigger once you get the wings in here. You can see the backs, like if that's supposed to be his real wing part, it's not painted, but the front is. I assume the original might be like that, just to say, but it is cool that you kind of get the skin color mixed in there. But here we have extra pegs. Those actually can hold the accessories. They have a hole, and they can go onto the wings. First thought they would go on the belt, but they just go up on the wing. He's got all his stuff he can store right on him. Now, the wings don't really do much other than maybe rotate a little bit in their spots, but nothing crazy there. They don't seem to be snapping in place. They just go in there pretty deep and stay. So again, just the turning head all the way around. The arms only go up and down. The legs have a little bit of leeway just so we can kind of pose him better. But he is a pretty cool guy. And then we have Screwloose, his little mosquito buddy. Not colored in or anything, but he has all his tail, wings. He's got the forearms and his needle nose. Cool little buddy accessory, kind of being his own figure. They are a team. I think in various works they're good or bad, just depending. So whatever you want to use to play with all these characters. You don't always use extra bad guys, because really the main heroes, you know, the Turtles, can kind of give it to Splinter, April, and Casey Jones a little bit, but all the other characters just kind of use them as different mutants that the Turtles had to fight, even if they end up befriending them at some point. But just nice to add extra characters there. So we got Wingnut and Screwloose in this. He's got a lot of different colors going on in his and details, so that are actually painted here. A little bit of his belly sticking out and his logo. So he is pretty nice. Okay, here's the one I got some issues with, Mutagen Man. We can see here we got the figure and he just has a tube here. The original had extra accessories. He had these tiny little things. He had a gun and then kind of a little tank looking thing. I actually do have my original Mutagen Man figure from 1990. So here's what I think happened. These pieces here are actually two accessory pieces that just come on his body. You can take these off, these purple kind of costume pieces. So I feel like they were like, everybody gets the 3, so he got 1, 2, and 3 with the tube. And so then there was no like budget or something left to come with his original yellow gun, which seems like a huge omission. The worst one's going to be the tank, because this tank piece actually goes in the back of the figure like this. See, there's a hole, and then there is a little peg here on his back. And then that's where that purple tube is supposed to come up to his little top cork here in one of these pieces of the tank. So if he doesn't have that yellow piece, I don't know what we can do with that tube. So the idea was this was like a cork and you could fill him with water. It looked like he was filled with liquid in there with his kind of weird organs and stuff, and this would keep the water in. So he does come with this piece, it looks like. Cork him up, but not coming with his blaster gun. Very strange. So let's open up, see if he really does have this piece, or if he just doesn't have it. Maybe they've just changed his back. This is quite the mystery. So then the little pieces, you would put them in, and then when it filled with the water, those little pieces were kind of swirling around inside. Of course, as you're a little kid and you get those and they're all gone. I loved filling him up and seeing those float around in there, the original. Super bummed out that they didn't come with those, because I would like to show you all those pieces floating around inside Mutagen Man. That's where the value of the set, some of these figures do go for a lot if you try to get the originals. So these redo sets are a good chance to get them complete with all their accessories. We got Mutagen Man here, doesn't come with his stuff. It really hurts the value of getting a redo when he doesn't come with his stuff. He just has an empty spot where that tank should be. That's really bad. That sucks, man. And that really kind of ruins the point of these. But luckily I have my original. I did, however, lose this tube, it seems. I couldn't find it anywhere. But at least I have that. It's pretty bendy here. Oh, the tab on his top cork piece. It's kind of weird. Warped. I think it's softer than the original. Kind of a lighter pink. Yeah, this one's very stiff, and the new one is very soft. You see general colors here. He's actually pretty solid. Maybe the new one's a little darker on the metallic pieces, like the boot. A little darker with his knife kind of thing, but the skin and kind of muscly meat. Body on the inside. Again, the older, it's kind of yellowing a little bit. It's a little cloudy, and this one's a little more clear for being new. We don't know if this plastic will yellow faster or slower, though. I don't know how this will do in the long run compared to just an original Mutagen. But these would all technically be removable also. They just come out of all these pegs. And it's kind of like, you know, the belts and things that a lot of the others come with. He just has up and down and kind of swivel of these legs in their spot. The body sure doesn't do anything because there's a lot of detail. Weirdness going on. So you would get one end here on his little top cork, and we're supposed to put the yellow piece here. I guess you can just put it right on this tube instead. Doesn't quite go on there. It mostly works that way, but the idea is supposed to be this extra tank back here. So it mostly works, but yeah, missing that, and especially missing the gun. See, here's the original Mutagen Man, and you would kind of put it on one of these various nozzles here, whichever one you felt you wanted him to have. So that's how it's supposed to look, but he just doesn't have this piece at all. So I almost kind of like my original more, especially since I can just snag this hose piece and give him his laser gun kind of thing, or mutagen gun, whatever it might be. This way he has his yellow pieces. But again, I've lost the tiny floating pieces, which would have been great if this set had a full Mutagen Man with all his stuff. Even those tiny pieces. I'd say you need to grab this box set like ASAP. I think that's why it's kind of sitting around, because people see Mutagen Man and go, he's not even complete. But what's the point unless you just don't have the figure? That is a bummer. I don't know if I would want to fill this one with the water. Even his purple costume pieces are kind of wonky on the new one. You could fill it with water, but I wonder if this is even, you know, would it leak or something? The original didn't really leak except at the top. I don't know, man. That's going to be the weaker one, which is too bad because Mutagen Man's like an amazing action figure with the clear inside and stuff. Yeah, I always thought this was amazing. Terrifying character as a child in the cartoon. You're going to learn Nightmare Fuel really fast. And again, Leatherhead had his two colors. I'm not sure why we just stuck with the purple. You cheaped out on it is what happened. You didn't get the two extra yellow pieces. So if you do go on eBay, grab just these pieces. It is only, well, I mean, the little ones are going to probably costly to get because they're always lost, but they do fit on it because it's the same molds and stuff, so those pieces do fit on this one just to kind of finish him. In a sense, I just don't have the tiny pieces that he should have like floating around, or at least rattling around inside of it. That's the real bummer of the set. The rest are pretty solid other than maybe just the finish on the foot soldier. It's a weird group for the pack. It's just a couple they maybe haven't released in a while, just kind of throwing them together. It's not even particularly all good, all bad, depending on what you look at, cartoon or just what the back of the action figures used to say, because these didn't come with any profiles to even go off of on their carding, which is why I just ripped them open, because it's just better off to open them up. I got two solid new characters that I didn't have before, an extra foot soldier. We got Mutagen Man. I mean, all I really got was the tube since I was missing it. But hey, a backup Mutagen Man, why not? Really wish he would have had his accessories, or else this would have been a huge win of a pack. So I opened a lot of retro action figures and even newer things like this, even if they are related to retro. Got the old Ninja Turtle re-releases and the Party Wagon, or you can just get subscribed so you can see what else I open up here. Hopefully I'll get to see you in the next video, whatever that is. These are some classic cohorts, let me tell you.